Hi, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Riley Simpson. I believe we're on our fourth episode. I'm so excited. Today, we have something so good. But before we get started, about talking about boundaries, because that is a problem I feel like we all have. And that step by step is just something that really helped me change my relationships, myself, my life. Just talk about it's like the nutrients, it's your vegetables. Boundaries are your vegetables to your body. Okay, but before we get started about that, if you haven't heard of me before, my name is Riley. I go by Riri Simpson on all social media platforms. This podcast first season is going to be based on breaking the cycle. I decided to make this podcast simply just because I like to listen to people talk. I like to hear what people have to say, even if I don't agree with it. And I like to open my mind to different perspectives. So I feel like that's a good person to want to listen to. And I just wanted to share my message, share my knowledge with you guys. I've done so much therapy since I was a kid. I've gone through a lot of stuff as a young adult. And now I've reached a level of like peace and balance where I feel like I can give back in the most appropriate and proper way possible, because before I would not have done this. I've actually recorded a podcast, like probably 100 different episodes with different people, different topics, different subjects, and nothing felt right. I just wanted there to be a place where I can be raw and real and honest, because I feel like everywhere else it's a lot more sensitive. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's holiday season. Is anybody doing anything fun? I've been super into doing the theme of things. Like, I love to be on theme with the month. And so in Halloween, I did all the Halloween things. I didn't do Horror Nights. I was not about to do that, but I did do just other fun things like, where did we went? We went and saw the light show with all the pumpkin carvings. We went and I took my man to like a dinner and movie night where we watched The Purge and we had a 3-course dinner. It was great. And then we did do one medium scary thing, because I told him that we could do like I think it was called like a terror tram or something, somewhere where I had to sit inside. Like, I'm not getting out and voluntarily being scared, even though, of course, he forced me into going into the mazes and stuff. Oh, yeah, I have a boyfriend. That'll be saved for season 2. A lot of you guys don't know that. I'm keeping this relationship on the DL. I'm not doing too much with it because I want to experience the relationship before I experience the social aspect. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, we did a lot of fun things during that time. And now it's been, by this time that this podcast is coming out, it's been like we've gone through November, and now we're probably closer to December. So definitely let me know what you guys are doing for fun. You guys didn't come to this podcast for that, though. You guys came here to get some tea for thought. You came here to tilt your head and say, does she really think that way? Or like, thank God I'm not alone. So today I wanted to talk about boundaries. I remember when I had my first therapy session and my therapist was trying to teach me about boundaries, and I was like, girl, these are extensive. These are extreme. My therapist had like boundaries that like, what was one of her crazy boundaries? Oh, like, which is a good boundary. But at the time I was like, okay, so this is a good boundary. But at the time I was like blown away that this was somebody that like lived like this. So she told me that she has a very clear boundary with her friends, that she's not doing friend group things. I'm not your friend's friend. I'm your friend. So I'm not going to come around at all to any friend group activities and none of that. Not even if it's your birthday, not any holidays, not any get-togethers. She doesn't do that because she doesn't like other people. And I remember or other people besides our friend, like, she doesn't like feeling obligated to be her friend's friends. Being your friend's friend, let's be honest, it does end up giving you drama, because how many times have we met our other friends and then our other friends' friends, and then we get together and then we have gossip to talk about their friends, and all of a sudden there's drama, and all of a sudden I don't like her, I don't like this vibe, I don't like that she did that. Is that your real friend? Is it this? Is that? It always leads into something being, for girls anyway, to being just more. Or let's say I stop being friends with you and I introduce you to my friend, and now you two are friends when you're my friend. My mom went through something with her friends that was similar to like that. And it was like she introduced this group of friends together, and then they ended up booting my mom and all came friends. And like, that sucked because those were her friends and this girl just kind of had it out for her. So like there's so many weird interactions that happen, I think, in like girl world, that she put up a big boundary that she was like, I'm not going to come to the friendship gatherings. And I remember when I first heard that, I was like, that is tough, because then it's kind of like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to be her friend if you can't come around for birthdays and stuff like that? And she said that it didn't get messy between her friends because her friends knew that was a boundary of hers, and she's been in practice with this forever, and it was like no biggie pretty much, right? So I was just like, okay, like, and of course, right in that instant, I thought, yeah, I don't like this one girl, or I don't like that girl. I hate when we have to link up. I hate when I have to hang out with her and it's not my friend. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how many times have we all thought about that? I know I can't be the only person. If I am, whoop-de-woo. I don't like all my friends' friends. And my friends know that. And that's what I mean. It's like, then it's a whole thing. So anyway, when she told me that boundary, I immediately started thinking of things that I don't like. And I was like, what are things that I don't like that if I could have a boundary for, I would, feel better? My biggest boundary was I wasn't arguing with anybody anymore. Like, I wasn't going to have an argumentative, toxic conversation with anybody. And at the time, my life was full of toxicity, and everybody just either wanted to yell at me or they wanted to argue, or it was like this big deal with most relationships in my life. And I decided that if somebody really loved me, they wouldn't want to treat me badly in a way that would be deemed negative or toxic or bad for me. That's a clear indication that you don't like me and we aren't really having a relationship of any type of sort, right? So I made that strict boundary. So every time it has came up to me, whether it be in family, relationships, friendships, if we start to get to a point of anger, my boundary is that we need to take a break until we can come back and we can think clearly. And a lot of people initially with that boundary, that was like the first thing I set into motion. And a lot of people initially were like, just upset with it, because to stop somebody in their height of irritation or anger and be like, we're gonna have to take a break because we're both angry and there's no need for us to be angry. We love each other, so let's just come back when it's right. Initially, you're like, no, we're going to talk about this right now. And I need to finish what I have to say to you. And I don't care if you need time, it's me too. But it was a clear boundary for me. And I had to learn to be okay with people's upsetness and learn to walk away, learn to give them a break. And 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 10, everybody has been very grateful that I react and do things that way, because you never are as mad as you were when the argument first broke out. It's like, once the argument is coming out and you start to get this flare of anxiety and anxiousness and, your heart is beating times 100 miles per hour and you're just like, I'm going to explode. That's the time where you're not even thinking clearly. And of course, we don't want to take a break because a lot of the times that's like a boost of like dopamine. It's like we feel superhuman. All of a sudden we have everything to say and we are on top of the world and we have all the knowledge. And then, the argument gets over, you regret so many things that you said and you wish you could have came from a calm, classy place. That was a boundary for me because I don't want to be taken out of my skin. I don't want anybody to have the power to take me out of my normal state, my relaxed, calm, and easy state. That's the type of person that I am, and that's the place where I want to be. I do realize that there's other people in the world, and I understand that not everybody's going to be able to react that way. So let's talk about those boundaries. How do you get there? What is there even to think of? So when it comes to boundaries, definitely think of the things that tick you off. Things that like turn your brain from green being balanced, calm, and happy, to being yellow, anxious, a little frustrated, red, completely blackout period. Those types of things that take you to the 2 different measures than your pace being an even playing field. By the way, if you want to see all of my hand gestures and my attitude when I'm talking about this, you guys can find me on my YouTube channel. It's linked in the description of my podcast. But anything that takes you out of your relaxed state is probably something you should have a boundary with. Another ridiculous boundary for me is I hate repeating myself. Nothing irks me more than having to repeat myself. And I will do it once because I do understand that like maybe you couldn't hear me, and I get frustrated too when somebody doesn't want to repeat themselves because, it's like, well, I didn't hear you. Like I want to continue this conversation, but I couldn't hear you. So I get that. But any times after that, I'm irritated and I'm not going to repeat myself. We can talk about something else. It's just a boundary of mine, plain and simple. Another boundary of mine is if I say no, I don't want to go, I'm not going. Boundaries for yourself, like create boundaries for yourself that don't have anything to do with people. My biggest thing that I realized as a woman was my woman intuition was really, really strong. And whenever I didn't want to go and do something and I went and did it, I literally couldn't stop saying, this is why I didn't want to come. I knew I shouldn't have came. This is exactly why I shouldn't have came. But then every time I went or I was gonna go somewhere and I didn't go, I would regret it. And I'd be like, man, I wish I knew I should have gone. Or when I went and I wanted to go, I'm always happy to go. So I made the boundary with myself that it was like, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. And if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. Like plain and simple. I'm not forcing myself to do anything. Call it selfish, but stepping into your selfish era is probably what's going to be best for you, because then you can... Once you become a little bit selfish, especially if that's not really who you are, I'm not really a selfish person. I had to practice being selfish so that way it would be easier for me to know what my boundary is with certain things. Sometimes I get it now. I do force myself out to go celebrate a friend or see my friends or something like that, even if I don't want to. But I don't force myself out when I'm feeling exhausted and overworked, or there's boundaries that you find yourself being able to move in. But first you have to be super, super selfish. You start off being selfish and listening to yourself and understanding what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. And then you can move forward. Once you just put yourself into motion of your yeses and your nos, your absolute nos and your yeses, it's going to be much easier for you to know what your boundaries are. What happens if somebody doesn't want to respect your boundary? Boundaries are a way for people to know you. If people aren't willing to understand what your boundaries are, they're not willing to know you. Friendship, family, relationships, they should all want to know who you are. You're a human being. You're somebody that they're involving into their life, their day-to-day activities, their special events. They should want to know who you are. Nobody should expect you to show up just for them and change completely who you are. Everybody should like you for the things that you do, the things that you don't do. I used to be told all the time that I'm cold and heartless and I'm this and that, until I found the right group of people that actually liked me. And they told me I wasn't cold and heartless or emotionless or anything like that. It just took some time to get to know me. And then I care like you're my freaking child, you know? But the wrong person, I do believe that the wrong person can bring out the worst in you. We all have a side to us that isn't that great. We all have a side to us that we wish we didn't have, that has came out here and there, and we completely are embarrassed and mortified. I know I do. I have memories that I wish I could erase. I have memories that I don't even fully remember because I was so angry, or I was so out of my skin, out of who I am, out of my core person. And anyone who brought me there and didn't look at me like, holy shit, I'm so sorry, doesn't really love you. So if somebody's not willing to accept your boundary, it's probably not really your person. And that's okay too. That's a part of growing up. That's a part of breaking the cycle. The cycle's not always going to be the same. And you're not going to be able to run the same game your whole life, especially if you want to grow. And you're not going to be able to run with the same people, do the same things. Shoot, like, I know I can't eat chocolate, but I'm still going to eat it. You know, sometimes that's what the cycle looks like. But unfortunately, you're going to be more disappointed in this process than you are satisfied, just because it takes a long time to get to the satisfied part of things. When you're trying to set your boundaries and you're trying to discover who you are and you're trying to be selfish, all these things are, in a sense, being self-centered, and you have to be, because the only person that's going to know you better than you is going to be you. You know what I mean? The only person that needs to experience you the way that you need to experience you is you. The only person that you really need to know is yourself right now. Or else you're always going to walk in this world kind of lonely, empty, unsure, insecure. I was that person. I speak from experience, and maybe I am the only person in the world. And I hope that making this podcast, I find that I'm not alone. And I know I'm not, because I've met friends and people that are very similar. But I walked this earth alone for a long time, simply just because I didn't know myself. And when I talk to people that knew me when I was younger, or when I talk to my family members, or just people that I thought knew nothing about me, they don't see me the way I saw myself. It was really about me because I didn't allow myself to just be authentically me. I didn't allow myself to just be happy with whatever it is that I wanted to do, however I wanted to act. I think it was like when I turned 18, I finally it was legal for me to smoke weed. And I was like super high around my family, like so high my eyes were like bloodshot red, and I was like, literally, I don't even remember those years of my life. I was so high. And I remember my uncles being like, you shouldn't be smoking weed, you're too young, da da da. And I said, I am legally an adult and I am allowed to do this. And that was like the first thing I didn't give a fuck about. And that's when people started to know me. But because I was so scared most of my life to be that person who I always knew I was supposed to be, I never felt like anybody knew me that well. But then, sure enough, now, my whole family smokes. I made it a cultural norm to be exactly who you want to be and act how you want to be and do everything that you want to do in my family. And that leads us into the topic of your feelings. Your feelings matter, but are they going to change your life? Feelings are temporary things. Feelings and knowing are two different things. When you feel something, yes, that is so valid, and I want you to always feel it and take it all in. But when you know something, that is so much more powerful than your feelings. When you feel like you should spend $1,000 on a shopping spree because you need it and you need these things, versus you know that you don't have the money for the $1,000 shopping spree and you should save until you can realistically get the shopping spree, those are two different paths. One is going to lead you broke and temporarily happy, and the other one is going to leave you happy, satisfied, knowledgeable, and later successful in what you want. Do you get what I'm trying to put down? Sometimes we are afraid to set our boundaries with people because we're scared of the feeling of losing them, the feeling of what they might feel, the thought of how they're going to take it, instead of knowing that if I set this boundary, then our relationship will be better. You'll know me more. I'll be happier in this dynamic. You'll be able to decide if we should even continue a dynamic. Like, there's so many things that go about creating the boundaries. And even my boyfriend, he told me, he was like, I'm scared. He still is like scared to tell me how he really feels about things. And I know a little bit because I've done so much therapy. And I told him, I was like, the hard knock truth is like the longer you stop yourself from being exactly who you are, the longer that we have to wait to see if this is even going to work. Because I don't want you to roll over one day and decide, I haven't even been myself this whole time. Now you're going to change into a whole new person and expect me to love you through it when I don't even know you. And that goes with the same with boundaries. If you're not willing to express to people your boundaries, they're never going to just understand. The phrase, I'm not a mind reader, is a real statement. Nobody should be expected to read each other's minds. That is dumb. I don't care if you've been sending me mixed signals and eyes all day. I'm not going out of my way to read your mind. We're all adults. Set the boundaries so you can have a easier, healthier lifestyle for yourself and the relationships that you have. Remember that your feelings are temporary. Feelings and knowing are two different things. If you feel like you should have a certain lifestyle, but you're not going to like it, go with the knowing. Because the feeling is something that you're just feeling right now, but the knowing is something that you know. And you always want to work through life in that way, because once you start to work through life in that way, it gets a lot more easier for you and the people around you. This episode was definitely dedicated just to the process of creating those boundaries. I wanted to share a couple stories that I felt like were hard for me. Like setting my boundaries, ignoring my feelings, going with my knowing was very hard for me. It's continuously hard for me. And this practice will be continuous. Your best bet is to practice the things that I'm telling you to the people that you see the most, your friends, your family, yourself. Like practice and practice and practice, because it doesn't necessarily get easier. It just becomes a part of your routine. When you practice doing what's best for you, eventually you're going to do what's best for you. But if you keep practicing what is not good for you, you're going to keep going in the bad cycle. We're trying to break the cycle, come out of the cycle, step into the new that's unfamiliar, that feels scary, that feels maybe even wrong. We want to step into that era so that way we can get to where we want to be. we want to step into that era so we know exactly who we want to be on this earth, in this world, as a woman. And doing so is going to make it that much clearer for what type of people you want in your life, what type of relationship you want to have, how can you have a better relationship in certain places. All these are communication styles that are going to help you build up to the place where you want to be in this world, where you feel the most confident, clear, calm, balanced, easygoing. And it's not to say that you don't enjoy the occasional dopamine feel of you getting super anxious and worried. That's going to happen whether we like it or not. That's just part of the human body. But you can control it. And for me, I wanted to control it. I asked myself if it was life or death, for you to have anxiety, for you to feel negative about yourself, for you to not be who you are, would you still be doing it? And I said no. And technically it is life or death. This is your life that you're playing with. This is your world that you're playing with. Are you going to go another year, turn another year older and be the same miserable person that's living in somebody else's body that's not your own? Are you going to be the same, turn another year older and you're going to be doing the same routine that makes you miserable? Or are you going to wake up, change it, and step into the unfamiliar with the risk of it being better? And I always said, I say this to myself all the time, and I say this to my friends whenever we're going through hard times. Whenever I'm going through a hard time, I always say, like, I just want to give myself one more chance. I want to give myself one more chance to succeed. Do I owe myself one more chance to live out the dream that I always pictured as a little kid? Am I going to allow myself to make this life and craft this life to exactly the way that I want it to be? Is that possible? Am I going to give myself the chance at the dream life that I always envisioned for myself, or am I going to settle with the life that's okay? I'm not mad here. It just doesn't feel like this is what I always saw myself like being. This isn't the place where I saw myself, but it's not bad. Am I okay with that reality? And I am not. Because if I'm going to die here, as you get older, it gets more and more apparent that you are going to die in a certain place. And if I'm going to die, I want to give myself every chance, every opportunity, every relationship, every craftsmanship of relationship, every version of everything that I ever dreamed about. If I have a current thought, I'm going to do it. If I have an itch, I'm going to itch it. I'm going to scratch it. If I want to change something, I'm going to do it, because why not? It's my life. And when I get older, I want to be happy with the life that I lived. I want to feel like I got everything that I want. And even if that doesn't happen, I want to give myself every chance in the book for it to happen. So that way, at least I can live in a life that is mine, crafted by me, and I have no regrets. Because nothing is worse than sitting in a room full of, I've sat in rooms before I did all of this, and you're sitting in a room surrounded by people you don't really feel like they know you. You're giving love and encouragement to somebody who's only put you down. You're in a relationship with somebody who treats you like shit. The last episode was like, am I shit? Because I'm attracting shit. No, you're not shit, but you think of yourself as that. That's how low you've set the bar for yourself, is you think that you deserve all of these terrible things just because of a feeling. 9 times out of 10, when we're stuck in a bad situation, it's because our heart is involved. I got this temporary tattoo, and it's a heart and a brain holding hands. I don't know. It's like was supposed to fade. Remember when made to fades were like cool? Well, a company reached out to me. I do influencing full time as well, and company reached out to me. They wanted to give me a made to fade tattoo. And I said yes. And I got a brain and a heart tattooed on my arm in the worst spot possible. And it's so crazy because at the time I was like, it's so cute. It's not even remotely cute. Literally looks like a scribble. But it's a heart and a brain holding hands. And I told myself, I hope by the time it fades, I'll be thinking with both. I got this tattoo done 3 years ago. And it is just now slowly starting to fade, which is crazy because I would say I'm just now starting to hopefully think with both. It's an everyday practice thinking with your head and your brain, but women are supernatural in a way. Like we have all of these intuitive, crazy, tunnel vision, deja vu like aspects in our brain. And if the thing that does throw us off though is relationships, feelings, dynamics, but alone, most women are like really powerful. They can do a lot on their own. But when we start intermixing energies and emotions and people and vibes and chemistries and sex, something fogs up in our brain where we become dumb. It's with those dopamine levels that we become addicted to and the boost of serotonin that we become addicted to, because we also can feel. Women can feel so deeply and so strongly because we're literally programmed to feel from the moment that we wake up. We're like just feelers. I'm not a man, so I can't speak for you guys. But it's like when we start to just feel too heavy about anything, we lose our brain and all the thing that makes us smart and supernatural. And I told myself that like, I am so smart. Everybody knows me as so smart. When I was making one of the dumbest decisions of my life, one of the smartest women that I grew up with in my whole life looked at me and she was like, I just thought you were smarter than that. And her being honest with me and looking at me in the eyes and telling me that, it dawned on me that I am smarter than this, that I am better than this, that I know exactly what I want and what I don't want. Sometimes people being brutally honest and raw with you helps you open up the can of worms that you didn't know was there, because for a long time you're thinking that you're doing the right thing, that you're living in the right timeline, that you're doing all the right things and that you're happy with all your choices, until somebody looks at you one day and says, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Is this you? You like this person? This is your friend?" Like until somebody somehow wipes the board clean, the fog from our eyeballs, then we become so clear. I don't know if men have that tactic, but the moral of the story is I wanted to think with both because I love my heart and I love the way that I feel and I love the way that I love, even if it is a little closed off. I love it. But I also love my brain. I love being smart and educated. I love having things my way. I like doing things in a way that makes sense. I like logic as well. And logic wins over my heart and my feelings. And I do think that we can have both. But you have to start from the breaking point of the brain, from the the below, low bottom, the under the surface levels of what makes you a human being at the core, for you to start to understand who you are individually. Because people are going to tell you every single day who they think you are. The friend's going to tell you, "Oh, I think you'd look great in this." Or the other girl's going to tell you, "Your hair looks so great. I love it." And you hate it. The outfit you hate. You guys look like such a cute couple and you're fucking miserable. Everybody's going to try to convince you that you're doing the right thing. You have this job, or you graduated, or you this, or you that, you're so lucky, you're so this, da 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 da. Everybody's going to be happy for you because you seem happy, or it looks good on you. That's what you have to remember. Most people, they don't even fucking care. I mean, think about how much do you really care? I mean, I'm one of those people, I don't really care. Like, it's like, I'm happy for people, of course, but I don't really care that much. So it's just like, when we think that we're taking all of this, like, authenticity and points from people, we'll call them points, when we think we're gathering points from people because my hair looked good, my skin looks good now, my outfit looks good, me and my man look good, and you getting all this verbal validation from everybody that you're doing everything right, but for some reason something still feels wrong, it's because you're not fully following what you want in life. And maybe that will be the way it is for a long time. Like, I have no idea. All I know is that I try every single day to put one step in front of the other in a different direction if I don't like the direction I'm headed in. And that makes me feel a lot more successful. That makes me feel a lot more like I'm living my life. I am crafting my life to where I want it to be while testing if it is what I want it to be. The idea of things is not as good as the reality of things. That's why you got to try it. You can't say that you want something if you haven't taken one step towards it, because you don't even know if you're going to like it yet. And it's okay. We constantly have to try different things in this world to get to where we want to be, because we don't know. We're like a fresh baby egg. I just became an adult 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like an actual adult. So it's just like, it takes a long time. Give yourself a little bit more grace and set these things in practice, because they will help you. I can say at the other end of things being hard, conversations being hard, like I'm still human. It's not easy for me necessarily to have hard conversations. It's not easy for me necessarily to stop an argument when I feel just as furious. It's not as easy for me to walk away from somebody that I love just because they're actually not good for me. It's not easy at all, but I have to do it, because if I don't do it, who is? Every human at their core is special. Every human at their core is something that somebody wants in their life. But you can't be waiting to get chose by everybody. A friend, a relationship, a family dynamic, a party, an invite. Like, we can't be waiting to get chose. We have to feel like we are the prize. We have to know that we are the prize, not feel. You have to know. And why are you the prize? So many people walk around and they're like, I'm the prize and I got it all. Okay, what is it? What is it? Because we all have to have a job. We all have to make money. We all should have good hygiene. What is it exactly that's making you the prize? And I do feel like that's why there's a lot of like controversy between men and women, because every man's like, I'm the prize, and every girl's like, I'm the prize. And we are prizes because we're human beings, and that's amazing. But as I said, we all have to have a job. We all should have good hygiene. We all should, be good people. Like, the bare minimum applies to everybody, male or female. Hate to break it to us ladies. I do know that on a different topic, women, we do so many things that don't even qualify as the bare minimum. So that is what makes us amazing. But make sure that when you're saying all these prize, conversations, all these prize dynamics, that if somebody asks you what is the prize, don't list the basic 5. Say why you're the prize. I'm emotionally intelligent. I'm physically intelligent. I'm physically fit. I, know how to form proper conversations. I know how to communicate. I know how to have hard conversations. I'm a good friend, a good family member. I, keep myself together even on my hard days. I communicate on my hard days. I know how to love people in the way that, we should love them, which is, effortlessly and wholeheartedly. I know how to, the list goes on, but like, make sure you know what makes you exactly a 10. And it can't just be, I smell good, I make my own money, and I cook. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's amazing. But none of those things realistically show who you are as a person. Money is a dollar amount. Smelling good is, to me, a necessity. And being able to cook is also a necessity. Do people know how to do it? And does that give a little extra sprinklage on top? Yes, but that doesn't make you a prize pick. You know what I mean? So, anywho, make sure you know what type of prize pick that you are. Try to set your boundaries, because that will help you figure out what type of prize pick you are. Knowing what you like and what you don't like is a prize pick. It's less confusing for other people to know who you are. So, take this as you will. Thanks so much for tuning into my podcast. I'll see you guys not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Remember, I drop every 2 weeks. Side note, I am not a licensed therapist. I am just a person that has gone through a lot of trauma and also therapy, and I'm just giving tea for thought out. So let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, I am on YouTube if you want to see me live. Sometimes it's nice for me to just put somebody on the television and have them play while they talk and like see their reactions and stuff. And yeah, you can do that with me. It'll be linked in the description of my podcast, and I'll see you guys on a later episode in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.
Do what you feel when you feel like it, if you feel like it.
That may be to some people quite shocking.
What's shocking? To do what you feel when you feel like it, when you feel like it? If you feel like
well, I
it,
guess because
it's
people
just
tend
saying
to categorise
do what you
things.
want. Do what you want. I do what I want.